Yo, what is up? I am Brandon Chen. I'm an author of novels, manga, webtoons, and video games professionally. And basically, I wanted to do a quick Q&A because a lot of people always ask me questions about my career, how I got to do what I do. And so I wanted to start to do a, let's say monthly thing where you guys, whether you're a creator or a reader of the manga, anime, webtoon space or video games, you guys can ask me questions and I'll just hop on here and make a quick video and answer them. So let's get started. I asked these questions on Instagram, by the way, so if you're not following me, follow me at Inspired Author on everything. And one question is, what keeps you motivated to keep writing and making stories? Well, first off, I've been obsessed with storytelling since I was a kid. Motivation comes naturally almost because I'm pretty much addicted to doing it. But I have a really high drive to want to become very great at what I do. I want to be like one of the best, right? That's kind of like my ultimate goal. I have this really short-term goal, which is like get an anime adaptation of one of my stories, which is a short-term goal. I think the biggest motivator is really when people leave comments and I see how my work and my stories impact other people, or my videos even. It's like, wow, I made a video that really inspired someone to go out there and make a story of their own. That's like kind of life-changing. I literally convinced someone to decide to pick up the pen and paper. That is an amazing feeling. And so I get emails and like that stuff all the time, and nothing motivates me more than knowing that I impact readers in a positive way, and I also impact creators in a positive way. That really makes me want to do it more, right? I want to start making stories on VoiceMe, but like you, I cannot draw at all. That's totally fine. It's really easy to get started. I think VoiceMe has a lot of drawing competitions that they do. For me, I was always partnering with artists, so there's probably going to be a ton of questions on here about partnering with artists. Very easy to partner with an artist. You just have to find an artist, send them an email, send them a message, send a bunch of messages to a bunch of people, and maybe one will bite. But if you have no portfolio, like no experience so far, like for me, I published novels before I decided to reach out to artists to work on comics. And so it was pretty evident to the artist when I reached out. They're like, wow, this guy's published already. So I trusted in his storytelling abilities, right? So I would say it's really good to build your portfolio, because then when you go to the artist, it makes more sense for them to put trust into you. Otherwise, if you have no portfolio, the easiest way to get an artist to work for you or with you is just by paying them money. Because why would they take a chance on you if you have no publications yet, right? What do you think about Manga Plus creators? I'm actually not on Manga Plus. Actually, I put one shot on there just for funsies. I think Manga Plus is a great platform. It's interesting. It's new. It's a kind of like a webtoon for the manga space. Webtoon, if you didn't know, is not a very good platform for manga projects. So I would say Manga Plus is trying to tap into that digital comic space, which I think is really a smart idea, because most people read stuff on digital. Physical copies, not so much anymore. They're more collectibles. I have physical copies of stuff, but I don't actually read the physical copies anymore. I just have them just to have them. I read everything on my phone and on my iPad. So I think Manga Plus I think that's a great idea to go into digital comics for the manga space. Favorite anime? My favorite anime is Attack on Titan. Best soundtrack by Hiroyuki Sawano. Best animation studio, Studio Wit, and now Studio Mappa. Best voice actor, Eren Yeager. Attack on Titan by Hajime Isayama. He's an amazing creator. So smart, so dark, and so unpredictable. You really just don't know where the story is going to go. It's kind of crazy. Are you turning your manga into an anime series? I would love to. That's my goal. If you haven't seen my video, how I'm going to get an anime before I turn 30, definitely check that out. I just posted it last week. Yeah, I want an anime. I hope so. Maybe one day. It better happen. Goals for 2023. I'm hoping to get a romance series picked up. I'm hoping to get Nora, which is a novel that I originally published with Tapas. I want to bring it to a literary agent so I can get it traditionally published through HarperCollins or something. That would be really cool to see that book in bookstores. Another goal is to survive. I'm going to be serializing roughly 5 to 10 different series this year. So that's going to be pretty crazy. So survive. So yeah, health is a really big part of my year this year. It's maintaining my good eating habits, good sleeping habits, and going to the gym. So that's really, because if I end up the mangaka of Hunter x Hunter, Togashi, he can barely get out of bed, and that's not what I want to happen to me. So I want to make sure that I take good care of myself. Also, like, I'm trying to build a lot of different brands on social media now. I have a studio account which highlights all of my Webtoon projects now. I've hired editors and team members to deal with that for me. I've also started like a gaming channel. I'm starting a podcast pretty soon. So a lot of stuff in the works. Very exciting. All very experimental, so I don't really know how any of this is going to go. But yeah. How many more projects are in the works? I've got a lot of projects in talks with big publishers. I can't say a lot. There's a God Game spin-off coming. I think I can say that. There's the novel I just mentioned. There's some video game projects I worked on in the past that are now coming to publication, like Omega Strikers, which was announced. I did some writing narrative work for that video game. It's on Nintendo Switch and mobile games and Xbox and all that stuff. It's an anime game, so go check it out. And there's also a lot of like adaptation Webtoon work that I'm in the talks for, but who knows if that'll actually come to fruition. Are you still working on traditional manga projects? Not as much. So I have a lot of Webtoon projects that I'm doing that are serialized. If you didn't know, I won Silent Manga Audition late last year, which allowed for me to get a Japanese editor, which is fantastic. And they want me to enter like competitions in Japan and aim for serialization in Japan and even move to Japan. The problem with that is, one, I can't move to Japan. I have too much. I have this apartment. Like, I have family here. I can't move to Japan. Secondly, serializing traditional manga would take a lot of time. And I'm already serializing like 5 to 10 series, like very hard for me to also do traditional manga. I'm planning on still doing manga projects for fun, just it'll be on my own schedule, so it'll be less crazy. How do you get into a mostly art-based medium as a writer? So I used to be an artist, so my eye for visual storytelling is like pretty decent. I would say, yeah, just work with a lot of artists. I got into working with artists by first starting off by doing manga. I was doing like manga competitions and stuff like that. Eventually ended up serializing with my first official serialization, which is God Game, which is now a pretty popular series. And yeah, I would say like, someone's got to take a chance on you for a visual storytelling medium like comics, Western comics, American comics. And then going from there, you just kind of keep doing more and more and more until eventually now visual storytelling is my thing. I don't write novels anymore because it takes too much time to do that, which is very unfortunate. I love writing novels, by the way. It's just very hard for me to take the time to do that. But yeah, I would say like get started with like comics, American comics, Webtoons, Webtoon Canvas, manga. Just like partner with an artist and get started on something. Put something into the world. Is God Game going to paperback? Yes, it's in development. It's in the works. We have merch right now. We have merch like shirts and stuff. I think we have posters, but paperback is soon. We have the web novel in paperback, but paperback for the comic, which I'm assuming everyone's talking about, TBD. I'll announce it when it happens. Where did you look to find artists for your series? Artists honestly slide into my DMs now, but usually I just like see someone on Instagram. I'm like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Really nice art. And then one day I'll be like, hey, I have a project I'm trying to staff. Like, are you down to talk? And then they'll be like, yes or no, and then we'll talk, right? So usually just like me making friends. I've made a lot of friends over the years. I've been talking to artists for like 10 years now. I've been working with artists for 10 years, and I'm 25, turning 26. So I've been working with artists since I was 15. So I've been doing it for a long time. It's all about network, guys. It's all about network. That's a fact in life, not just my industry. Why are you a writer? Like, why writing of all things? I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to be a writer, but I knew that I would not be able to do both because it's too hard to be good at both unless you're very talented, and not most people are talented. So in order to optimize my own self, as a young kid, when I was 14, I flipped a coin that would decide whether or not I was going to be a writer or an artist. Heads, I believe it was writer. Tails is artist. It landed on heads, writer. That's now I'm a writer. So that's pretty much the story. But yeah, before that, I used to draw and I used to write until that day. And then I just quit drawing, and which is really unfortunate, but it's really hard to be a good artist and a good writer because oftentimes they're conflicting in terms of like what skill you're building. How did you start getting your work published? I started on publishing on Wattpad when I was 14 years old. I was publishing a novel. Eventually that got published into a novel when I was 17 on Amazon. Kept publishing, got noticed by an American comic book company when I was 20 in college. By then I had published 3 novels, and eventually I did my first one-shot for American comics, so like, you know, traditional stuff. And then that got me interested in doing manga, because I was like, wow, I can work with artists to make this happen. So I was from 19, I was around 19 when I started dabbling in manga, but took it more seriously when I was 20 or 21 years old. And then, and then I eventually shifted over into the manga space, and then won a few competitions. It didn't really take off until I was 23 when I did Icarus Rising and got this really big following for Shonen Jump Tezuka, got finalist for Kyoto International Manga Competition, and now I just have a large following because of my serializations for Webtoon, and all those Webtoon companies found me from the manga competitions that I did. And the way that I tell stories in the Webtoon space is almost identical to how I would tell those same stories in the manga space. So I pretty much bring the manga form of storytelling to the Webtoon space, which is why a lot of publishers like my work. I also bring a lot of traditional mangaka over into the Webtoon space, which is also why they like the art styles that we tend to work with as well. Can I make manga if I am 12? Of course! You make manga at any age. There's people in Japan that are winning at the age of like 14, 13. Like, get started whenever you want, you know? Don't let age be an inhibitor to your potential. The earlier you start, honestly, the better. So you're ahead of me, because I was still deciding whether or not I should be writing or drawing before at your age, 12. That's so young. How many more projects are in the works? A lot. Tips for starter mangakas. Look at Silent Manga Audition. It's a really great way to get your work out there, to potentially win a competition. Honestly, like, the process of making manga, like a short one-shot, is invaluable. Like, you learn so much just from making those one-shots about yourself, about the process, about finishing. Like, most people can never even finish a manga. So if you can finish a manga in a submission to Silent Manga Audition, you're already ahead of the game. So get out there, build your portfolio. Silent Manga Audition is a great way to start, or just any manga competition in general, honestly. Manga or Webtoon to start? I don't know. It depends on the medium that you want to do. I think either one is good. Is it necessary for the main characters to have a Japanese background for it to be manga? No. Good example is a lot of Japanese manga don't have Japanese main characters. So how do you convey your ideas and thoughts to your artists and editors? I think communication as a writer and producer is the most important quality. So I would say, like, if you can convey what you're thinking and what you visualize in your mind in very layman ways for that people can understand, that's the most important thing. So what I do is when I'm like, hey, like, I want this panel to look this way, I will tell them how far it is, so like distance shot, what the angle is, so like a 3/4 front view, so I'm hitting them from the front from a 3/4 angle of this character, he's this expression, he's doing this thing, and this is what's happening in the background. I'll say all those things in the description in the panel. It'll be very simply written, and then I'll also have dialogue and sound effects, etc. And yeah, I'm pretty good at doing that, and now I can write like panels like super fast, because I'm very fast at conveying what's in my head and what I'm visualizing in my head to the page in a very simple way that an artist can read and visualize themselves. That's really important, guys. Really important skill. What's your favorite and least favorite anime manga? Favorite anime is obviously Attack on Titan, like I said. Least favorite anime, Boku no Pico, for obvious reasons. Favorite manga. Honestly, I'm not sure. I think One Punch Man, Blue Lock, Vagabond is up there, Monster's up there. There's so many for manga. Can't say the manga that's my most favorite. Least favorite manga, I don't know if I have a least favorite. Actually, Jujutsu Kaisen is one of my favorites also, as a side note. And Blue Lock. I don't think I have a least favorite. I don't know. I have a lot of, I'm reading things and I'm like, wow, that was good. I rarely think about the things that are bad. There's been some isekai ones that I've read that are pretty garbage, but you can tell that they're made for the memes, so I can't really even accurately talk about those. That's it. Okay, so, well, I don't want this video to go on for too much longer. If you have any questions, make sure to follow me on Instagram. You could also leave them in the comments as well. I'll take a look at some of the comments as well for the next video, which will come out next month. And yeah, hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this was helpful, and I will continue to answer the questions. You can ask the same questions, and I'll probably still answer them. So I'll catch you guys on next week's video. Subscribe. Peace.